The blue corner, wearing the black trunks with gold trim and weighing in at an even 167 pounds. Fighting out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, he brings a professional record, undefeated 33-0, 2 draws, 22 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the challenger, the IBF middleweight champion of the world, James Lights Out Toney. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with red trim and weighing an even 168 pounds. His professional record, 30 victories, 18 KOs, 7 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, from the streets of the South Bronx in New York City, presenting the 3-time world champion and current IBF super middleweight champion of the world, Iran, the Blade, Barkley.
Okay, I spoke to both of your fighters in the dressing room. I'm cautioning you now, obey my commands at all times. Shake hands and good luck.
You know, I see this fight as an athlete. Toney, who was a high school quarterback, against a warrior, Barkley. And what may just turn out to be a warrior's game. We'll see whether Toney can maintain his poise in the face of what is expected to be a fierce pass rush.
I think the most important man tonight is Richard Steele. They couldn't have picked a stronger referee.
You like Richard Steele?
For this fight, take somebody strong and willing.
Barkley comes out with an apparent urge to overwhelm Toney from the beginning, and Toney catches him inside with counter lefts and rights. Barkley trying to go to the body, Toney coming right up the middle, and James Toney is giving better than he's getting.
Toney is getting in good uppercuts right now, left uppercuts. But he shouldn't throw too many of them the first round.
Well, already you've seen Toney's superior technicianship. Iran came in winging wide, as he loves to do, and Toney stepped right up the middle to take advantage.
Toney should keep this as skillful as he can. Barkley is not a skillful fighter, he's a puncher. Why wait in and play that game?
And now we're into stage 2. Toney, who's often accused of not fighting the full minutes, or the full 3 minutes of every round, begins to stand against the ropes and relax and allow Barkley to wail away at it.
And Barkley has been caught with some effective shots in the body that could have some telling points as the fight goes along.
Barkley will keep going to the body. He's not the kind of guy who forgets to do it. Toney scores with an uppercut inside. But the longer James stands still on the ropes, the more he plays Barkley's game.
I think if he stands on the rope and not trying to push this guy, he can be a lot more effective than trying to push him out. Just hit him because he's not quick, he's only powerful. Good body punch, a good left hook to the side, and Barkley is starting to show a little blood.
That's right, there's blood under Iran's left eye. Barkley has a history as a bleeder, and right now, Toney is whacking away with tremendous effect in the middle of the ring. And Toney just walks away and rests for a second, and Iran Barkley comes storming back at him.
He walked away because he said earlier, you're going to see some blood quick. He has seen blood, now he's happy.
Couldn't ask for a more entertaining first 2 minutes of the fight. It was everything the experts expected it to be.
And for the first time in Toney's career, about fighting only a few minutes every round should be right to this time. He shouldn't excel himself.
Toney looks very relaxed and very confident early on in his first bout against a really high-skilled, accomplished 168-pound fighter. There's a good right uppercut inside that brings the crowd alive.
Barkley has been hit before by some of the best punchers in the world. He's gotten up, so you don't get carried away. Once you hit him, you just keep it set up in that fashion.
Iran Barkley is the only man on the planet who has beaten Tommy Hearns twice. Nobody else can claim that.
to the wrong corner.
All right, he's a sucker for the uppercut. The uppercuts that you're hitting him with, keep hitting him with him, and come back with that left hook. What you mean? All we gotta do is pump the jab. You want the overhead, the head crack? You see you hitting the head crack? Right. Okay, that's all you gotta do. He's standing right up. That's all. He's standing right up. That's all. When we want the head crack, we got it. But when you go to the outside, you gotta pump that stiff jab. That's all. Right. All right, that's all. That's all you gotta do. Big muscle right over here. That's all you gotta do. Just keep that jab coming out. If he stands up. If he stands up, pump. Look, first off. There we go, man. Pump the jab. That's all I need, all right? Let's go. Let's go to work.
What Toney must do in this fight is early on to put a lot of hurt on Barkley, because if Barkley is still there in the second half of the fight, he's going to come on with his strength.
He said earlier he was going to hit this guy in the side, and Barkley is starting to land punches around the side. But it seems that Toney's left jab is the best thing he's got tonight.
Well, you already saw the punch stat numbers that indicated a great first round for James Toney. And beyond those numbers, he doubled Barkley in power shots, 33-17.
I think Toney is going to have to settle in and realize I can outbox this guy. It's real easy jabbing and stop worrying about taking him out. If he makes that decision, it could be an easy fight for him. But if he doesn't, he's going to get rocked and rolled tonight.
And incidentally, the blood was from Barkley's nose, not from above his eye.
And I don't think Toney liked that. Got a little overconfident because he thought the blood was coming up.
Good chopping left hand inside by Toney. He has great counter-punching ability, and against a guy like Barkley, that will afford him a lot of opportunities. Oh, right hand on the shoulder of Toney seemed to stun him for a second. Both fighters landing to the body.
It's going to take 2 or 3 rounds before Toney realizes I better respect this big man's power.
Barkley just missing with the right cross. It skimmed across the side of Toney's head.
When you're 160 pounds, those right hands that you turn don't hurt that much. When you're up at 68, those right hands gnaw your legs.
Good uppercut inside by Toney. You heard Bill Miller, Toney's trainer, telling him that Barkley was a sucker for an uppercut, and Toney lands another one in there.
Once you get out.
But those uppercuts got to be followed by something around the side, some body punches, chest and to the side, because this guy's regularly about 200 pounds. He's accustomed to taking big shots like that
Once you get out.
from bigger guys.
Come back.
Toney landing with the jab. Barkley just steps past it to come inside. Toney's quicker hands still a factor, particularly every time they step away from the ropes and into the middle of the ring. Barkley landing a left hook to the top of Toney's head.
Toney's really getting good with his left jab at this point. He's standing right on the ball of his feet, jabbing and not jumping backwards. When you see a fighter do that, that means he's confident.
Right.
Tony fighting a masterful fight at close quarters, keeping his poise, picking his shots.
You're doing what you want to do. You continue to do this here. If we can do this for about 5 or 6 rounds, we can bust this guy up. All right? How you feel, baby? Good for the fucking shit. All right.
What? Hit him with a muscle. That's what we gotta have.
Right. Hit him in the muscle. Your left hand is down already. Right. Hit him in the muscle. Your left hand is down already. All right. Let's keep on doing the same thing. Keep doing the same thing, champ. That's all. Okay. That's all. But I need more of that champ.
There's a Barkley punch, but it did not land flush. James Toney is very, very difficult to hit on the head. People have said he has a small head, and he rolls his shoulders away from punches very cleverly, George.
Move your hand. Move your hand. All right? Move your hand.
That was an odd punch we saw in the replay. At best, It appeared to hit Toney on the shoulder, but it also appeared to stun him for a second. And Barkley, George, is a guy who wants to hit you anywhere he can make contact.
Right. Now, Toney has sold all the whoop tickets about how he's going to knock him out. Now he should be contented with just winning every round. Let the knockout come by itself. Don't try to create it. Barkley should try and make this fight as wild as he can and stop standing back with his left jab. Just get it in, wade in there.
It was the left shoulder where Toney was hit, but he's using the left hand liberally. So it does not appear that there was any injury which should affect him in the bout. Toney again scoring a right uppercut inside. Barkley continues to bang away to the liver and kidneys, trying to slow Toney down to create some opportunities later on in the fight.
I think Barkley coming in with his mean demeanor and how tough he is. Now he should settle down, but he's going to think the crowd is going to say, you can't do it, you're scared. So he puts himself in a corner that he shouldn't be in at this point. With his longer reach, he should have been ahead on points.
Another uppercut lands inside. Most effective punch of the bout for Toney by a wide margin. Toney walking away. Barkley steps in and whacks with the left hook. And we've got a fairly steady flow of blood now coming out of both of Iran Barkley's nostrils.
Come on, let's work.
Toney is not content because he wanted him to be busted in the eyes at this point. Good right hand by Barkley.
Good left hook inside by Toney. Right hand by Toney. Right hand by Barkley. They are trading shots.
Those exchanges do not help Toney.
There's a solid right cross by Toney, but it didn't seem to stun Iran Barkley. And one thing we know about Barkley, he can take a punch.
Very smart. Toney landed his shots and moved out of the way.
And the mouthpiece is knocked completely out of Barkley's mouth by the fabulous right cross from Toney. And here comes Iran stepping in without his mouthpiece, showing his courage and his resiliency.
Toney is starting to get real accurate. He's throwing that right hand right down like threading a needle.
And now Richard Steele will give Barkley a chance to replace the mouthpiece.
Let's go.
Iran Barkley does take a punch, as you say, Jim, but it's not a virtue to take this many hard, clean punches.
And you know something? Iran Barkley's eyesight is real bad at this point. He doesn't even know where Toney is unless he's bumping bodies with him.
And let's remember, he once had a detached retina in his left eye.
He's had 2 detached retina surgeries in the left eye. There's a solid left hook by Toney. Barkley comes back with a left to the body. More Barkley stuff to the body. I'm sorry, George.
If Toney would only back away, he can see that this guy can't see him.
You know, Larry, you talk about the vision thing, and Barkley went to the wrong corner at the end of round 1. They're both trimmed in black and red all the way down.
All right?
Okay, let's take a look at that clean right hand, and there you saw the mouthpiece flying outside of the ring. Once more, with feeling. Measuring his opponent, very cool inside, very impressive, Toney. He is fighting up and surpassing the level of his opponent so far.
You know you only got a minute to rest. Why would they stuff his nose with all that stuff? Can he take a second wind? Can he rest himself? No. That's not a smart idea.
Well, they must be worried about the blood flow. Maybe that nose is broken, George, and that's why it's bleeding so profusely.
You work with Q-tips, even a bigger Q-tips, but you don't stick that much stuff up when the guy's supposed to be resting in the corner.
Good point. Another right cross after a right uppercut. Toney with target practice now inside against Barkley's head. Look at the fast hands. This is brilliant stuff from James Toney.
If Toney would step around to the other side of the ring, he can see the vision problem that Barkley is having and wouldn't let him get close because he's got to get close to feel where he is. He's punching by feel now. He just doesn't see what he's doing.
Well, this has been Iran's method for years. Lean in, shoulder the opponent, get your body on him, and then pound away at close quarters.
And he's thrown a lot of punches to Toney's hip below the belt in that fashion. This is not what Toney needs to be taking at this point.
Chopping right hand by Barkley missed. Toney spins away and shows off his hand speed and combinations again. James Toney piling up points early against Iran Barkley.
Barkley has been in this amount of trouble before, so you just can't just get overconfident with him. He can still land that telling blow and have you on the floor.
Yeah, when he knocked out Tommy Hearns several years back, it was a fight in which he had been thoroughly dominated all along and was bleeding badly. But he can launch one.
Now Toney is starting to land shots to the side now. It's going to help this young fighter as the fight goes on.
Taking a page out of Barkley's book, saying to himself, well, if we're going to stand here shoulder to shoulder, I may as well do the same thing Iran does and whack away at the liver.
Barkley is starting to push him into the corners now.
No low blow warnings for Richard Steele. Barkley has begun to land several to the hip area of James Toney.
That's right.
Chopping rights inside by Toney. 3 of them landed. And Richard Steele wants Barkley to come to his corner so that his glove can be retaped.
This helps Toney because he's taking a well-earned breather here. He should be sucking in as much oxygen as he can right now, not just stand there.
But Toney has shown so far that his claim that he could be more active at 168 than he was at 160 is true.
Toney's connecting nearly half of his punches in this round, 18 of 43 so far. Barkley didn't get a chance to dab at the blood streaming from his nose while he got that glove rewrapped. Toney with the jab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of them. Barkley jabs back. Toney knocks the mouthpiece out again, this time with a short left hook. How do you score the bout so far?
Jim, 4 rounds to none, 40 to 36, James Toney. I think he's just winning this fight on clean punching. You know, we score on clean punching, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense. James Toney is winning this basically on the clean punching.
Any arguments, ladies and gentlemen?
If he's losing that box because he's being hit with the punches below the belt and on the hip, that may have some effect if the fight goes to the 10th and 11th round.
Now you're going to see the 3 right hands that Toney landed toward the end of the round. 1, 2, 3. And Barkley went out of that round laughing. Whew.
Well, that's Iran. He loves to rumble. At the time at which, or at the age, I should say, at which Toney was playing high school football, Iran was in a life and death street gang in the Bronx named the Black Spades.
Pull it back.
The thing about being a fighter, you got no game. You got to do it all by yourself.
Toney with another splendid right in there.
Toney is real effective when Barkley throws that hook. He's getting underneath it. Takes a lot of, and it discourages a fighter when you go underneath his left hook.
Barkley chases Toney to land one relatively light left hook. And starts punching away to the hip joint again.
That can really hurt a young fighter because he'll let you hit him not knowing what you're doing to him.
Step back.
Well, elaborate on that, George, because to the average guy, it might not look as though those punches mean anything.
Yeah, you go to your corner, you can barely sit down on your stool because your hip is sore and you don't know what's going on.
Let's work.
Because you're not hurt on top of you, you're not suspicious. This is a job for a referee now.
Probably too many referees let guys get away with those punches to the
Richard
hip.
Steele is looking up high and he hasn't glanced down yet.
He's looking for
He said it once,
headbutts.
keep him up. He's only said it once.
Yeah, he's watching for headbutts, which is another frequent occurrence in Barkley's fights because of his style.
He's admonished once to keep him up, but that's not enough. He should pull this guy off and say, we're not going to have it.
Double right inside by Toney. Bang, bang. Saw the blood fly from Barkley's head.
The thing about Toney, he weighed in at 168, but by dinner time that day, he was back up to 173, you can believe it. You don't want a guy that big leaning on you.
Let's work.
Well, I'm sure both of them weighed 168 by the time they came in here tonight.
No, I mean,
Yeah, I know you mean
Barkley was
Iran.
up. Iran Barkley must have went back up to 173 or 175 because you can't have that big man leaning on you. The same left hook that dropped Tommy Hearns, Barkley is starting to find range from.
Your hands are straight work. There you go.
Now you're telling me, George, that despite the punch-by-punch domination we've seen early from James Toney, Barkley is getting enough here and there to maybe set something up for later on.
That's right, those body punches is helping him. He's not skillful. He's not known to win fights on points anyway. So why not just keep hitting on the punch, catch this guy leaning and grab him.
Toney walks away after once again landing a flurry inside. Blood streaming from Barkley's nose, and Iran, the warrior, continues to chase James to the ropes.
It's the old saying, you don't pull a switchblade on an elephant. And sometimes those good shots may look like they're hurt, but this big guy's not hurt.
Well, this is a primitive game, and Barkley is a primitive fighter. But the man with the skill is dominating him now.
All we got to do is keep going up. Look at it. That's the punch that's going to get us out. Double left hook. All right? He's okay. He's okay. Double left hook. Double left hook. You just hit him with the muscle. That's all. And when he starts rolling like that, turn it, go underneath. You just bend it out, he's going underneath. That's all. It's coming. It's coming. He's getting tired, champ. You got to roll and go underneath. That's what you got to do, champ. That's all. You drink? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Suck it up, baby. Come on, baby. Suck it up. Show them what you made out of. Show them what you made out of, baby. Show them what you made out of. Seconds out. I got it. Don't worry about it. We got it. Show them.
George Foreman, when we saw Barkley spit blood there, you got the impression that he's probably swallowing a good deal of it during the rounds. How much will that bother him?
I do believe, but this guy's accustomed to being in this kind of trouble. He probably gets it in the gym. So he's not out of tune with it. He doesn't mind right now.
Does he notice it?
Oh, he doesn't even care. His corner told him when Toney rolled to go underneath. He keeps going on top.
Toney with magnificent hand speed. You won't often see that kind of flurry at 168 pounds. Although now, of course, Michael Nunn has a 168-pound championship.
Come on, let's work.
Yes, but, you know, somebody with Barkley's mentality thinks, I've been hit all those punches, now I've got him where I want him.
Yep.
That's just the way a fighter like Barkley thinks.
He really acknowledged yesterday that he would never expect to win a fight like this on points. He's here to try to score a knockout. So losing rounds doesn't much bother Iran Barkley.
As far as I'm concerned, this guy, Toney, should sit around and coast for a round now. Regroup, suck up his energy, and go for the 7th, go for the 8th, 9th, and 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Well, at what point, if you're in Toney's corner, do you tell your man to try to stay away from some of these inside confrontations and get a little bit farther away?
I think that Toney is real skillful. He knows the coast. I don't think his corner is even aware of the need to coach with such a big guy like this. The corner's never had him in with a guy this big and a fight of this stature. But you gotta coach that sometimes. You're not gonna get a knockout like that. Win the fight.
Barkley sticking to his game plan with dogged determination. Keeps his head on Toney's shoulder, leans his body in on him.
Watch your shoulder.
And George, you've referred several times as Toney lands 2 more uppercuts in there and stuns Iran Barkley. Stuns Barkley with a minute to go in round 6.
But this is not the kind of fight he wanted the 6th round. This is the round he should have been coasting. Not to his advantage to mix it up with him now.
And Barkley coming back, and I was about to say, you've referred several times to Iran leaning on James. It's going to help to tire Toney out, right?
That's right. Barkley has got to be weighing somewhere near 175 pounds.
You got your hands
That big
free,
head
bro.
on your chest like that, don't push him. It's going to wear you out.
And as he leans on James, he's pushing his legs down on the canvas all the time.
So he's following somebody's plan.
There's a left hook that landed for Barkley. Larry?
Well, I think punches wear you out also, George. And most of the good ones are being landed by Toney.
They just don't wear the big guys out like they do the smaller guys. Because sometimes you hit them good, and they just accustomed to being hit harder.
Toney finished the round with a left to the neck and 2 solid rights to Barkley's chin. And Iran Barkley looks a little weary midway through this World Championship bout.
You don't like that. You got to keep doubling it. Look at me. You got to keep doubling it. Make a fight, baby. Hands up and make a fight. All right, baby. That's all you got to do. Keep them hands up and just go right to him, Sam. Make a fight. Double it. That's what. Just double up. He's turning that way. You got to double it up. Let's go. Here we go, baby. Open up.
Watch Toney in close.
Take your time.
He's been very, very clever. He's just 24 years old. Didn't start really boxing until he was out of high school. And he has a really good athlete's feel for what's going on in the ring. There's some kind of sensitivity to the movements of his opponent and what he can do that is the mark of what I would call a natural athlete.
Good point, Larry. Almost magical the way he can bob under Barkley's head, slide to the side, and then come up with the uppercut at just the right moment. Well, in all of these punch-out numbers that you're going to see in the closing rounds, you are looking at a statistical mismatch.
Don't hold it.
We're looking at a mismatch in the fight right now. Although it could turn around, what we know of what has happened, it is a mismatch.
It's been all James Toney. But Barkley is hoping that in the war of attrition, things will begin to go his way later on.
Starting to agree with Larry now. Punches take these out of you too.
Remember I said at the start of the fight that the second half of the fight could be Barkley's unless Toney did some serious damage. And Barkley does look like he's slowing up a little bit here.
Toney for the first time jab to the body. And that's hard to see a young fella do when the fight gets in beyond 6th round.
You can see that Barkley's left eye is badly swollen. His vision probably compromised, but some would say, well, that vision was already badly compromised.
That Barkley's got one big left arm. That thing turns into a hook and gets you sleeping. You're going to wake up in your dressing room.
Punch and get out. Punch and get out.
Punch and get out, says Steele. He still hasn't warned Barkley for the low blows, and they are still coming with some frequency.
Barkley is from that school. It's not how you play the game, it's winning it counts.
Work inside to get out. Put your arms back.
Sonny Liston said that.
That would be the old school, right?
Keep him up. Keep him up.
Sonny, of course, was in some of the most distinguished schools of hard knocks, George. Back before he was your idol.
Walks away and turns his head like nothing has happened.
And then rains that right hand over the top. Over and under. Brilliant display of technique by James Toney.
Barkley's left eye is completely starting to shut up now. He's better go on out there and look for a knockout because that jab can really just shut him down.
Well, for 7 rounds, it has unquestionably been James Toney's most impressive performance. And all the talk about how different he'd be at 168 pounds seems to be fulfilled with his performance here tonight.
Punch and get out. Punch and get out.
Now for the first time, Barkley is hanging on and holding. He's not throwing shots.
Now, Iran Barkley has slowed down, but he's still taking those uppercuts inside.
You know that if you beat even on a rock often enough, the rock is going to start to chip and break.
I've heard that said.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it through the 7th round?
Larry, 69, 64, 6 rounds to 1 favor James Toney. I think James Toney's mugging him. I mean, he's beating him up. The only round I gave to Iran Barkley was round 6, when I thought James Toney sort of dogged it for 2.5 minutes, and Iran sort of took over, most of the round. But that's it. It's all Toney.
I've got a shutout for Toney so
That's all
far.
you got to do. All right? Wake up now. Wake up in here.
It's turning out that for Toney, Barkley is the ideal bull. That he can exhibit his skills and his poise, all of his abilities.
Well, logic told you that a skilled counterpuncher like Toney might well feast on somebody who would come to him. And
Barkley is by no means out of this picture yet.
okay, we'll watch that, George. 7 rounds down, 5 rounds to go. Toney landed 72% of his punches in round number 7.
Why don't you get out of there?
Barkley is starting now when he goes forward to hold a little bit because those uppercuts are starting to hurt. He should have been doing that earlier. When you bump, hold, make sure the guy doesn't hit you.
It's getting harder and harder to figure, George, what Barkley would do to turn it around. He's not even throwing the left hook with that much frequency now.
Time for the corner. Come on. Come on, you guys. Come on.
Steele trying to hurry things up as he brings Barkley to the corner. And once again, Iran must have his glove
Put it
taped.
all the way around.
Yesterday, we
All the way around.
saw
Up and down. Up and
James
down.
Toney in his room playing a computer boxing game with a friend. He was losing that game, and that's the only thing he's
Let's go,
lost in
Iran.
boxing
Come on.
this
Let's go.
weekend. So far.
Do we begin to sneak a peek ahead to what it would be like to have
Come on,
James
let's work,
Toney in
let's
the
work.
ring with Roy Jones at 168 pounds?
Not yet. We've got a few more rounds to go.
George,
All right.
hang in there.
If only we could tell Barkley to just hang in there. Barkley's starting to jab now. This should have been a weapon for him early on.
Oh, what a brilliant display of accurate power punching by James Toney.
Well, hold him.
What Toney is doing, you seldom see from a young fighter. This is something you see good veterans like a late Muhammad Ali who just jab, right hand.
And he's an awfully experienced young fighter, George. 8 championship fights in the last 21 months. And he is showing all the benefits of the lessons he's learned against tough opponents.
He's got an opponent just fits him right down to the teeth.
Keep him up. Keep him up. Don't hold him.
Barkley goes back to whacking away at the liver while clinching James Toney. Toney takes one of his periodic rests.
Don't hold his hand.
The
Let's
thing
work.
Barkley didn't look at with Toney that he did maybe with Tony Hearns. Toney's got big legs. He doesn't have real skinny legs. So these guys, you just can't hit them with one shot and drop them like you would Tony Hearns.
And when he fought Tommy Hearns, Hearns wasn't 24 years old, as James Toney is.
Sometimes the 24 years old can work a lot against you too.
Not tonight.
Not tonight?
No, not tonight, George. Tonight it looks real good on James Toney. And the 32 don't look as good on Barkley. Left hooks from Toney. Barkley is stunned again. And Iran just can't defend himself against that crisp hand speed and punching inside.
The referee is being real generous not to give him a standing 8 count, but there is no standing 8 count tonight.
Plus the generosity. Another great round for Toney. Another session of target practice with spectacular punch stat statistics, no doubt yet to come.
Doctor! Go and learn to do this school. Take it to this school. All right, baby. Okay, I need more pressure.
Talk to me too,
All right, Doc. I can see the
We can see you, Doc.
We can see you, Doc. I need more pressure. Talk to me, baby. Okay, baby. Okay, I need more pressure. Give me all you got, all right? Give me all you got.
Let me see the eye.
Let him see the eye. Let him see the eye.
We'll see all right down
Yeah,
there.
Doc.
You're not seeing double on
Yo, I need more. I need a lot of pressure this round. Jump on it. Make them fight, baby. Make them fight. Give me all you got. Give me all you got. Come on, Chad. I need more pressure.
No more water, that hit. I'm going to the guy now.
You sit down and punch him. All right, let's go, man. Let's show him what made there. Take a drink. Let's go.
Through this point in the fight, I think it's safe to say that James Toney has won the super middleweight championship. It is now his to lose and Barkley's to win back.
And not only that, the doctors are really taking notice to that left eye. They don't like what they see, the ringside doctors. And he's giving the referee some instructions not to let him take too much abuse on that left eye.
Don't let the graphic fool you. This is the 9th round, not the 8th. And you heard Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, Barkley's trainer, asking for what would amount to one last stand.
Come on, don't hold him. Punch and get out of there. Great. Step back.
Barkley's got a lot of heart. A little more heart than anything else at this point.
Maybe more heart than was good for him at the beginning of the evening.
There's that same left hook that dropped Toney early. It comes out every now and then, and a good right hand by Barkley.
Iran sticking his chin in, taking punishment, and trying to find a chance to land a haymaker.
This is what you've got to do at this point. You just can't play it safe. You're going to have to take some risks.
And now Toney is able to jab with impunity because Barkley can't even see it coming.
Punch and get out. Punch and get out.
So James, if he wants to, can just flip the jab, pile up points, and continue to annoy Iran as Iran tries to mount the straightforward, headlong rushes that he needs to create pressure.
Good left jab. That's the kind of left jab I was talking about a middleweight needs. Toney's got an excellent left jab. Nobody knew about that.
Barkley flashed the left hook for a second, but missed it. Toney continues to whack away at close range.
Toney has got a lot more power this way.
Well, this is going to greatly improve James Toney's reputation among ringside experts because tonight he has been everything that he always claimed he could be, but seemed to fall short of being.
That same left hook just misses.
Yeah, he's missed it twice here.
This round.
Yeah, that's what I meant in this round. He's missed it a bunch on
All
the
it takes is one left hook, and believe me, we can start talking a different language about Iran Barkley.
I know, George. I know you're trying to protect my reputation
Punch and
here.
get out of there. Punch and get out.
Last 10 seconds of round number 9. Iran Barkley's blood dripping onto James Toney's back.
He's out on his feet at this point.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Toney continues target practice through 9 rounds.
Jim, I said at the start of this fight that Toney was favored, but that all the experts I talked to like Barkley, I must have been talking to the wrong people.
The fight is over. The doctors has decided he can't take no more.
Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, once a very good light heavyweight champion, stopped the fight. He didn't want to see Iran Barkley take any more punishment.
Good for Eddie.
Good fight. Good fight.
Really good for Eddie. A passionate decision by Barkley's trainer.
Iran could be a good friend.
Iran Barkley made $1 million tonight. Probably